You know the saying, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. Hey guys, thanks for coming back for part 2. Now, I hope you've been able to catch our previous video of our garden where I gave you a little tour of the current state, sort of talk about some of the things that we're hoping to do for this year. We're in our greenhouse at the moment and I'm actually in the process of mending some broken glass. You know the saying, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. Well, I didn't actually throw any stones on this occasion. However, like I mentioned in the previous video, a bunch of the glass was broken from our greenhouse project. This is a free greenhouse that I got off Facebook Marketplace. I not only had to dismantle it at the person's house, which I went to pick it up, I had to transport it as well in my car, glass, everything, and it was quite a challenge, to be fair. But I've now managed to reassemble it, build a base to raise it up off the ground, as I'm quite tall and I've got enough room above my head so I won't basically be decapitating myself every time I get in here. So today I'm just using this ultra strong tape to basically tape along the seams of the broken glass to keep the rigidity, strengthen it, and obviously to protect the sharp edges. To be fair, it's fairly safe as long as nobody goes trying to push their finger through it. You know, there'll be no issues. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to be taping it with this heavy duty tape. It's really warm in here already and it's not even summer. Just with the little bit of sunshine that we've been getting today, it's considerably warmer in here, so this tape will go a long way just to seal those gaps. Now, as you can see, I've managed to get myself some green tape in keeping with the theme, and yeah, it looks really good. And like I said, once that tape goes over it, you can't even feel the seam of the glass, which is really nice. That will keep it from shifting, especially when it's windy. I have been in here when it's been windy. It's been quite stormy recently when we had those snowstorms, and it was absolutely fine. So I've got no cause for concern whatsoever. And even though it may not look as aesthetically pleasing, if you didn't have the tape, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Unfortunately, the glass got broken and you've just got to deal with it. Thankfully, not all of them were broken. This piece, you know, quite a few pieces were still fully intact, but for the ones that were broken, we just simply have to repair it. Like I said, only if you go and start messing with the edge of it, you could cut yourself. Hence why I'm putting the tape to eliminate any of that happening, especially when the kids want to come in to have a look at what's growing in here. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up, and then the next task will be to actually empty the compost bin, which is long overdue, to sort of to mix in the soil with the new compost. As before you know it, it'll be time to plant our vegetables in the raised bed. So I'm going to finish up this taping job, and then we're going to head over to the compost bin. So all of what's in here is basically stuff we've eaten over the year, along with stuff that the kids have thrown in here. What's that? Oh, it's one of their balls that's been composted.
Oh wow, so this is 1 year's worth of compost.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it looks pretty gross, but once you mix it in with the soil, it will dry out and be a lot better. Warning, worms. So yeah, just to give you an idea of how many worms are in this thing, honestly, it's ridiculous. Look at them just squirming away. Don't know how well this will show up on camera, but that's a good sign, guys. These guys have been busy breaking down all of the food waste back into something that we can use, rich in nutrient for the plants that we're going to be growing. So yeah, happy days. And this is what we're left with. Honestly, this thing was almost full to the brim, and after the worms have done their thing, this is literally what we've got left, which is like a quarter of what we had before. Like I said, it is so rich. Look at that, amazing. And all of this is going to be mixed in with this year's crop to hopefully give it a boost, and then we'll eat it, and then we'll rinse and repeat. Now apologies for those of you who are a bit squeamish with worms and stuff like that, but you know, it's a healthy sign. So we've got an intruder here.
So nice and warm.
It is warm, isn't it?
Was it locked up earlier? Looks
Yeah.
like, because when I came in. But this is the best spot. Wow. So what's the plans, mate?
So yeah, gonna have 2 beds in here. Yeah, I put the tape over it to give it some strength, and just think of it as decoration. One bed's gonna be over there.
Bed.
No, not for you to sleep in. Oh gosh. We're gonna have plant beds, so you're gonna have one over here for, like your shoes by the way, one over here for, I'm not sure yet, and another one over by this side. Then I'm gonna use these tiles down the middle as a walkway,
So we can still.
yeah,
So
we'll
then
have
you can
somewhere.
have like shelves.
Yep, I'm gonna have to build some shelves. I've got some of the shelves that was in there from before, but they're quite low. And on top,
What's the weather like on Sunday?
Sunday, probably more rain, to be fair. I'm quite surprised how nice it is today. Just emptying the compost bin. Do you want to come and give me a hand? With all those lovely worms?
Here comes lunch and the lovely
Oh, it's lunchtime!
Make every use of this sunshine.
Haha! Oh, I love you.
Homemade soup made by my husband.
Who will make the soup?
My husband.
Oh dear. Oh, thank
Got
you.
some avocado and bread and tea. Oh, this is life, man. Ah, lunch with hubby is the best. No kids. Don't put this in there, no, it's gonna kill me.
King of the castle, king of the castle. Okay, so I've literally just finished doing the raised bed. I managed to mix in the new compost, which is freshly made, dig it into the soil, the existing one, turn it over to get some air inside of it. There were so many worms in that thing, honestly, it's going to be great. They'll continue to break down the bits that weren't broken down in the weeks to come, and in a month or two when I do start planting out into it, I'm really looking forward to seeing what grows. So the next job is to get inside the greenhouse and to start marking out the raised beds that I'm going to be building in there. And again, I'm going to have to probably get some more compost to put in there just to enrich the soil a bit. But the first thing that I need to do is just to mark it out and start building those raised beds. So I've basically made the measurements, dividing the greenhouse into 2 halves, and now I'm going to be getting rid of all the weeds, all of the stones, as well as the grass that is in here before digging the soil over into its respective areas. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do before figuring out how and where I'm going to make the boxes which will house all of the soil where we'll be growing the crops. Okay guys, so I've just literally finished weeding out all of the grass, all of the weeds from the floor, and I've just started to actually mark out the area where I'm hoping to put these raised beds. I'm still a bit unsure of how wide to make these. However, I'm just going to do sort of like a little trial and error, see how it goes before I start to construct it and actually put them together. Now, I don't know if you noticed from the wood that I was using, these pieces of wood are actually left over from an old bed frame which I took apart some time ago, and part of this bed frame I also use to actually make the flower bed at the front of our garden. Now, if you haven't seen that video, again, go and check it out. Hopefully it will inspire you. We really like to beautify our homes so that it can look as nice as possible. There's nothing like coming home to a beautiful home, and yeah, you can do so much simple little DIY projects around the house to enhance that. So go and check that video out. I'll put the link above. It's really nice, and I'm looking forward to replanting again for this season, but at the moment it's still pretty early, so I'm sure when it comes closer to the date we'll get my sunflowers back in there and all the other flowers that we normally plant at the front. But for now, we're going to focus on this project that we're doing here in the greenhouse. So now that it's cleared, the next step is for me to figure out where I'm actually going to be putting the boundaries. I've already selected the middle line in this greenhouse, so it's just about trying to figure out how wide I'm going to make each one of these flower boxes. Okay, so I thought I'd just explain a little bit what I'm doing right now. So I've just started to dig up the areas where we're going to be putting the raised beds, and I've got this trusty little sieve here which we're going to be using to just sift out some of the stones and all of the glass and whatever other types of rubbish that's in the soil. And once I've done that, I'm just going to put it in one area, and the next step is just going to be to level this all off. And once I've done that, then I can start figuring out where each box is going to be, along with the quarry tiles which we dug up from our house. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. So this is the stuff that I need to get rid of out of there. Bits of stone, glass, plastic, you name it, ceramics. That's not going to be any good for growing vegetables. So yeah, this is going to take some time. Okay, so after a lot of hard graft, and I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of hard work, I've finally managed to sift through the top layer of the soil in the greenhouse, and I've left with this gorgeous soft loomy soil which I'm going to be using to fill the raised boxes which I'll be making here in the greenhouse. The weather's been brilliant today, especially because there's been no rain, and it's reasonably warm in the greenhouse, as you can probably imagine. And yeah, made really good progress. Now the next step will be to level this soil into each of the sections which I'll be using to grow the vegetables, and then building a raised box out of those pieces of pine wood which was left over from an old bed frame that was dismantled. So again, I'm all economical, using what is around rather than going out to buy stuff. I have got some decking boards which I bought recently for another project, but I refuse to use those when we've got these pieces of timber. And in the years to come, once they rot and they need replacing, it will cost me nothing to just get rid of them, and probably do the same thing if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'll show you what the soil looks like at the moment, because like I said, it's looking really nice. So I didn't actually have to do this with the soil, but I just really wanted the opportunity to start from fresh. I mean, this stuff is just brilliant. Look at that. This feels like something you would buy from the shop. It's so smooth and so nice. And these will be put into our raised bed area, which will be going around the perimeter of the greenhouse, all around back to this side. And then we'll simply have a walkway in the middle, which I'll be constructing using those quarry tiles which I mentioned before. But I think I'm going to call it a day, as I can hear the rain coming down and it's going to be time for the school run and life goes on. So I'm just going to pause here and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you've been enjoying this so far and I've been giving you the itch to go out there and to get stuck into your garden. Now guys, you know that we're Christians, Sophia and I, and we believe in Bible-based principles, and we believe that if you want something in life, you've got to work hard for it. The Bible actually says that hard work brings a profit, and so all of this hard work that I've been putting in, hopefully as the years go on, will definitely bear fruit, pun intended. And yeah, hopefully you guys will try and do the same. If you've got any suggestions, this is my first time actually having a greenhouse, growing stuff in the greenhouse. If you've got experience with this, please post it in the comment down below. What are some of the things which are great to grow in a greenhouse? Any tips on how to care for it and so on, I'd really appreciate it. As always, this is Ken Roy saying, I'll see you when you see me. Take care guys.